Hello everybody and welcome to the Learn Dota 2 League Season 12, Week 5. Today we got This is Sparta, rising star for the team in this tournament so far, though they're taking on quite a challenge today and probably the top team of the tournament at the moment, the Backdoor Boys.
A lot of people say they aren't good because all they've beaten is bottom 4 teams, I believe. So,
Right.
there's that discourse.
It's going to be quite the test. It's going to be an interesting test too. I feel like even if This is Sparta doesn't actually come out on top here, if they can at least have a good showing against the Backdoor Boys, it'll show a massive amount of improvement from how they were the first couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Immediately getting rid of the Night Stalker here, presumably assuming that they have the stand and pause 3. Not sure they do or not, because we got some funny renaming business going on here.
5 seconds remaining.
Maybe they have their actual pause 3 Dusty, who may or may not exist. I'm still not really convinced he does, to be honest with you.
Dire team ban.
None of that witch doctor.
Yep. I will say, I can't think of a silencer match play by Sparta off the top of my head. Suppose there's a good chance they're just not banning out counter.
10 seconds remaining.
Or they are banning out counters rather than
5
banning out
seconds remaining.
the old respect bans, as they say. Let's keep chat open, just for fun. I mean, I doubt anyone's gonna say anything, but you know.
Radiant team pick.
No, Ogre Magi! He has
That's sad.
fallen from his lofty heights of near 100% PB
Dire team pick.
the first couple of weeks. I think because people realized, I feel like he was kind of getting generally overrated in this tournament. Not to say that Ogre Magi is a bad pick or anything, it's just probably not 100% PB.
And Grim is taking his place.
That's true, yeah. Grim is somebody
10
that
seconds remaining.
a lot of teams have found hard to deal with through this tournament. I
5
feel,
seconds
I
remaining.
wonder when the realization is going to come in that the reason Grimstroke is so nasty to deal with is actually neither because of his ult nor his Inkswell for the most part, but it's actually his silence. I think it's had the largest impact on this tournament so far. Immediately picking up the winner of Vern here. It's going to be going to give them the option to just completely waste the time whenever the Grimstroke ult is up.
Yep.
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
Also, potentially going to let them set up into something else. Let's see what they get to back up the ult with Vern here.
Radiant team pick.
Phantom Lancer in the first pick phase, huh? It's a little ballsy.
Super early peel, yeah.
If you're drafting teams, who do you pick up to counter the PL out?
10 seconds remaining.
Just any AoE really, you know.
5
ES
seconds remaining.
is the most obvious choice, perhaps.
Which ES?
Earthshaker.
Yep, Earthshaker does very good against him.
Maybe get like a Pit Lord too. There you
Like
go.
that? It's going to be our big boy LaCroix hero.
Yeah.
Almost assuredly. Unfortunately, Winter Wyvern is one of the
10
better
seconds
anti-PL sort of heroes out there.
5 seconds
Has some funny
remaining.
tricks for dealing with the guy. They
It is
immediately
true.
snatch drop though. I feel like you could actually say which ES. All of them do a degree, really.
Yeah.
You know, Ember Spirit, if he builds right, can basically just turn PL illusions into his own damage that he just gets to do scot-free.
10
And
seconds remaining.
Earth Spirit can, he has some funny tricks to
5 seconds
deal
remaining.
with the illusion tides. Especially
Radiant
notable
team
is, man, they're thinking about that themselves, just immediately getting rid of that Ember. The funny thing is, you know, there is some call sometimes for making it easy to immediately spot out which the real PL is when there's just a giant
Yeah.
cloud of him and he hasn't done
10
anything
seconds
to
remaining.
necessarily reveal himself yet, and Earth Spirit is really good at
5
that.
seconds remaining.
You know, if he blasts a rock at a big crowd of PLs, not only are half the illusions now like half health, but also makes it fairly obvious which one's the real one.
Out of that bristleback.
Yep, Sparta knocking out the bristleback.
10
PL and
seconds
bristleback
remaining.
is one of those who fires first type counters.
5 seconds
So
remaining.
having the PL on your team, you know, gives you a pretty good recourse for picking up the bristleback. They work fairly well together.
Radiant team back.
No Monkey King, says the Backdoor Boys. That is a little more interesting. I feel like with the Monkey King, you already kind of
10
have
seconds remaining.
natural counters out to the Monkey King on the field with
5
Wyvern and
seconds
PL there.
remaining. Dire team back.
No Disruptor.
Yep. Disruptor always a pretty good ban. Can't think of a time when he wouldn't be.
When you've already got all the supports picked, is the answer to that?
Yeah, unless you want to pick him, or there's
10
already
seconds
2
remaining.
supports on the field
Yeah.
that aren't possibly flex.
5
Hey, you know, we
seconds
could be
remaining.
seeing the genesis of the Pause 3 Disruptor here for some reason.
Yeah, it's possible, definitely. Mid disruptor.
See, that's the kind of dangerous thing that gets you thrown into the gulag.
Dire team pick.
No Viper either. You guys seen some Jackie Chen Viper this tournament so far? Viper, one of the better heroes in the game at dealing with Winter Wyvern, so no surprises knocking him out when we put both those facts together.
Disables PL's
10
ult
seconds
too.
remaining.
Yep.
5
And of course,
seconds
very
remaining.
much narrows the choice, narrows the pool of potential heroes he would even consider running at mid.
So PL is forced to either move or not do anything, basically.
Yep.
Radiant team pick.
Here comes Snapfire. You gotta really time it really well, but a Snapfire ult as a follow-up to Winter Wyvern ult can do a lot of damage.
Yeah.
Very short order.
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds.
There's really
remaining.
two ways for Sparta to go about this at this point. There's an Earthshaker.
Yep.
Probably gonna be 4
No
Earthshaker there.
surprise.
There's 2 ways for Sparta to be going about this. A, build some tank items on Earthshaker in addition to the Underlord. Go double up on their tank power here as a
10
team,
seconds
you know.
remaining.
Because you're really, against PL in particular, you're pretty
5
much
seconds
always
remaining.
going to want Crimson Guard against PL. It actually shaves off so much of his damage. It's almost an essential item. It really gives you a lot of minutes to try and deal with them. You're really, ideally, going to want to have something to get you through the Snapfire ult without necessarily having to wait for the BKB just for that. you're gonna want, you know, pipe being the ideal there. You're going to want something to deal with the Winter Vernal one way or the other. You're going to need a lot of tanking power,
Yep.
or you're going to need a lot of ability to sort of chase down, right? A lot of ability to go into the back lines, get the dudes who are going to be trying to flank or hanging out back there, right? You know, reach out and crush the Wyverns and the Snapfires of the world. Reach out in your own back lines and crush the PLs of the world. And hey, this ain't a bad guy as far as doing that goes.
Certainly 4 AoE heroes, that's for sure.
Yep. Well, I would say it's a bit dubious to call Grimstroke an AoE hero, but he can certainly operate in that range.
Too.
I mean, it's not much of an AoE, is it?
Against PL, I'd say it is. PL is not like a Meepo, he's gonna have all his
I guess that's true.
all his clones kind of
Against
around
nobody else,
a
though.
certain area.
Yeah, in the spectrum of things that are good at dealing with the illusion swarms, no argument there. Grimstroke is decently well capable of it, though. That is going to be a strength that's going to require Grimstroke to keep somewhat on pace for levels, at least. That's Slardar coming up. Slardar actually goes really well with PL because I mentioned that Crimson Guard just there. Well, the Slardar armor break, especially plus the Snapfire armor break. Snapfire armor break isn't that impressive on its own, but you put the Snapfire armor break with the Slardar armor break, and suddenly that Crimson Guard ain't cutting it anymore. You need a Shivas, basically.
Yeah. I think they do a TA or SF less pick just to double up on that armor break.
Of course,
triple up on that armor break.
Of course, does mean that you will have to put some thought into getting around a PL BKB if he chooses to get one this game.
Yeah.
It's an interesting hero, the old PL, because he's one of those guys where you're not necessarily going to get BKB on him every game. He's definitely one of the heroes where you get BKB if you have to, and you don't always have to. You definitely don't want to. You need to, but you don't want to. Nobody likes building BKB, but PL especially doesn't, right? So getting Shiva's at least going to force him to buy BKB, but once he does get that BKB, he's going to take a lot of the edge off of it. At least be good for the illusions, though.
So, kind of like I said a moment ago, if they want to triple up on armor break and get TA or SF for their mid, it would definitely be quite deadly.
There's no guarantee, actually, we don't already have the mid in the pool. You want a funny little bit of background information for you, right?
Yeah,
I've seen Minoy off camera play some Pos 2 Wyvern recently.
Oh wow.
It's truth. So you can't actually completely discount the possibility we're going to be seeing that here.
10 seconds remaining.
I'll stick to my guess.
5 seconds
I think
remaining.
that we got 2 armor break heroes in a row here. Need something to completely stack. Just to remove Underlord's pretty much his thing, basically, is his tankiness.
Right.
And with 3 sources of armor break on him, he's not gonna have that anymore. 3 sources of relatively low cooldown armor break, or no cooldown armor break if it's an SF.
Sniper. Alright.
That's a hero that doesn't really care about armor break. I mean, if you catch him, you catch him.
Yeah,
The armor doesn't matter, so...
On one hand, he has nothing to say about PL in particular. He will get a Mjolnir at some point. He doesn't need to be the guy going after PL, at the very least. Doesn't have anything to do about PL. Doesn't have that much to do about Wyvern either. Core or not core. But at the very least, it's going to hassle the Slardar and the Snapfire pretty handily. We do have the
makes
Shadow
sense.
Fiend here.
3 sources of armor break. Gonna mess up Gyro, gonna mess up Underlord.
Snowstorm. A Shadow Fiend. I believe that's a
Wow.
stand-in. Wow, Backdoor Boys has a stand-in and it's not on the 3?
Yeah, it's from Manoy. Assuming he didn't change his name.
Yeah. I think we got a stand-in on Sparta as well. GGG War Carp. Is that the case, or am I just
I don't
stupid?
know. No clue. Been too long since I've seen a Sparta game.
It's been weeks.
It's true, it really has.
It's gonna
Been
be
enjoying the
interesting.
holidays.
Gonna be interesting to see how the Backdoor Boys get on without Manoy around.
I think Carp is regularly part of the team. I think it's all Sparta here.
Yeah. Just has a GGG stamp on that I don't think he's had in the past. Always throws me off seeing those new sponsors or clan tags. Still can't believe that Kid Dynamite got a Nike sponsorship.
Yeah, that's true.
Absolutely nuts.
Alrighty.
Alright. And now, for everybody's favorite segment, the calls.
Prepare for battle.
Alright, so, start with the Backdoor Boys. Because, you know, why not? I always start with a Radiant. Why not start with the Dire for once? We got Chris, who heckin' loves Peru, not Comrade Chris. Pause 1 on the Phantom Lancer. Snowstorm, pause 2 on the Shadow Fiend. Standing in for Manoy. Pause 3, we have Dusty, who's standing in for Vex, basically, on Slardar. You know, he's officially a member of the team, but I mean, Vex might as well be there, pause 3. Pause 4.
Some disrespect to Dusty.
Yeah, absolutely. Shoutouts to Dusty. Pause 4, Combination Bean as the Snapfire.
30 seconds.
And
to
pause
battle.
5, we've got Winter Wyvern. Rada, captain of the team, who is for Gary. Shoutouts to Gary.
Yeah,
By the
shoutouts
way-
to using all your voice lines.
Yeah. On the other hand, on This is Sparta. Pause 1, we've got G-Raff, also known as the Beatus, who has begun sponsoring himself here. Pause 2, captain of the team, Jackie Chen.
The
on
battle
Sniper.
begins.
Pause 3, Big Boy LaCroix on the Pit Lord. Pause 4, we're going to have Warcarp on the Earthshaker. And pause 5, Ascalter 3 on the Grimstroke. It's going to be a hoot one. Hoot and a holler,
Yeah.
as they say. I will say this much. We haven't really seen this guy so far in this tournament, I don't think. Maybe he stood in before, but I don't think we've seen this guy. How this mid goes is going to in large part depend on how comfortable he is on the Shadow Demon, or Shadow Fiend rather, which is a very nice way of saying how good he is at actually landing Shadow Rays. Because if he's consistently hitting 3 in a row, then Sniper is in Sniper is not the place he wants to be. But if not, you know, you're going to likely see Sniper walking all over him to a point. I don't believe we've seen the old G-Raff Gyro. I think maybe one game so far we've seen that.
I don't think so. I don't think they've run gyro.
I think they might have in like one of the first weeks, but I could be wrong. You know, it's easy to forget these things. People are kind of low in every lane right now, more or less the same time. Everybody getting at least a little messed up. Oh, just barely missing out the lock on Chris there. Bit of a shame if he was walled off there. He would have probably been dead, but on the other hand, it's not a very easy guy to wall in like that.
Yeah, you can't necessarily fully wall him off there because you would still have a path above the Fisher.
Right. Yeah, there's not going to be like a full wall, but just waste like 3 or 4
Yeah.
seconds for him to try and have to run around that thing is not the most ideal situation. You have Sav on the Wyvern, have Sav on M2, so it's going to be a while for they're going to be able to do that much damage.
Playing like an OG style or shaker here, he just focuses entirely on Fisher blocking and lane, maybe rotates as well.
Right. Well,
Usually,
hey, he's also
what
going to be focusing on beating up the supports.
that's true. Usually, what ES would do, you know, during the years where OG won TI was he would run mid at level 3 or 4 and just immediately wall off whoever their mid was in the river, and they would just die. So we'll see if that happens here.
We will definitely be having some bongo playing going on here. Big Boy LaCroix
Yeah, for
looking
sure.
very low. Big Boy LaCroix looking very dead. First
Yep.
blood up to PL, no
Set
less.
electric burn.
First blood. Let our great combat begin. Denied.
It is going to be very tough for them. Getting the Earthshaker is going to be give them some benefits in the long run. It's going to really inhibit how PL is going to be able to act in these fights, right? He's not going to be able to get around very easily. But unfortunately, they've definitely sacrificed, I think, in large part their lane phase for the ability to do that, because Wyvern can really walk over melee guys.
Yes.
Oh, he just
He
missed
can
a
even
kill down
walk
there.
over. Yeah.
See what happened there. I bet I can make the assumption, considering it's a Slardar and, yep, just,
Yep.
Slardar and, Snapfire lane. Very rude to deal with.
Especially with the amount of bonus damage Bash does now.
Right. Especially with the amount of bonus damage Bash does, in combination with the armor break from the little shredder.
Yes.
So you got the cookie, you got the shredder, you got Slardar's own stun, you've got the bash. I mean, it's a lot of nasty stuff that is very well kit together to tear you apart.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Carp really focusing on Wyvern so far in this lane. It's not really been doing much to PL as of yet. And here mid, you can see Shadow Fiend taking the lead so far as
Oh man.
lane activity in general is going. Yeah, as you can see there, you know, even though Sniper, theoretically at least, is able to just... Oh, man, I just missed another. Able to fairly well harass out Shadow Fiend with that right-click ability, though he is not leaning into that. I will say, it is the safe thing to do in this lane to go for Shrapnel here, though. You know, if you don't know, you might as well lean into E and W and see how he responds to that. But either way, without the ability to hit those raises, you know, he would be doing, he would be a lot worse off right now. But because he's able to keep Sniper pinned, he's got a 10 lasted advantage over the guy.
Yep.
For only the King's Ransom of one deny in deficit. Chris getting a little bashed up here. Running into the Radiant. Ah.
I could jump over it anyway.
That's true, but that's still very
Dire's top
sad.
tower is under attack.
Not any sort of region. Earthshaker can do very little, but just kind of walk back up here. PL already right back up to full health.
Yep.
Jackie did not deny the invis that time for some reason.
Alright.
Oh,
Yep.
Fairy Fire. I don't think the Fairy Fire actually ended up being necessary there. I think he had just enough to not die from it anyway. Speaking of die, goodbye Slardar. Grimstroke's revenge.
Yep.
Though, Gyrocopter actually almost died in this process. You can actually see had to smoke away to not die.
Yep.
Just to try and cover up exactly what he was heading out. Looks like they realize the Pit Lord isn't necessarily home right now.
Yeah. He's back.
Get some harass out on the old Earthshaker.
Gonna
Earthshaker is
pick up
one of
those
the.
mana boots fairly soon, and it'll help Earthshaker out a lot.
He's not. Oh, Underlord is. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say Earthshaker's actually going for Tranks.
Yep, because he's assuming his lane partner is gonna buy arcs, which is correct. So.
Yep.
They just might have communicated that, you know.
Of course, there is never anything wrong with doubling down on the old arc boots. But if you
That's
so
true,
prefer
but-
the Tranks, then so get them.
Yeah, if you know your lane partner is gonna get arcs, I think Tranks is okay on certain heroes, and ES is one of those heroes.
You are definitely going to need to be buying Clarities for a long time to sustain it, or being very ballsy with the old Soul Ring. Very interesting little scenario here. Big Boy LaCroix actually getting hassled here by the jungle. Kind of missed out on getting a little done there due to the stun, but Draggy Chen keeping close watch on it. She comes in, gets the assassination out. Darling not on the target he necessarily wanted, but a target nonetheless.
Better than
PL.
nothing, yeah.
PL has, unfortunately for him, talking about other things PL doesn't necessarily want to do, has had to rush all the way into a Hood of Defiance already.
Yep.
Because if he didn't do that, you know, the second Earthshaker hits 6, he is dead. It's another item you don't want to get as PL, but you just have to sometimes. Oh, God, another kill at bot. They happen so quickly. Shadow Fiend just comes in with that haste and just evaporates old Grimstroke.
Yep.
Guys, come on. Get kills at a reasonable pace so I can actually see him in time. Jeez. Like the simultaneous arc ring drop there. PL got that 5-year plan going.
Yeah, it sure does.
Shaker finished up with the Tranks, actually going right for Blink Dagger, not even getting the Soul Ring to go with that, which means he's definitely gonna be in some mana deficit for a while. A bit unfortunate. He's definitely gonna be losing some opportunities doing that. But if you really want that Blink Dagger, then that's you certainly can.
He
do
does
that.
really want the Blink Dagger in this game, I think.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
The only tragedy will be if there's a point in this match where he blinks in and he just doesn't have enough mana to do anything on the other side, I am going to cry. In a bit of a gank action here at bot as Winter Reburn has joined the fun.
Oh yeah.
And Grimstroke
Dire's top
not
tower is
having very
under
much of it to speak of. It's another very good example of just how quickly these guys can knock you out. The nastiest thing about this combination is that
Radiant's bottom
you have a
tower is
lot
under
of good
attack.
stuff to say with your fizz damage. You have the Slardar, you have the Snapfire with the Shredder, you have the Shadow Fiend
Radiant's
passive,
bottom
right?
tower has
You have a
fallen.
lot of stuff that's going to steroid your physical damage a lot. But then on the other hand, you also have the Snapfire ult. You also have the Shadow Fiend ult. You also have the the rest of the kit from Winter Reburn, besides the ult, obviously. You have a lot of magic damage on that lineup too. It makes things very, very difficult to deal with here, I think.
Really
for
intelligent
Sparta.
draft.
Tower is
Like,
under attack.
very smart, very well thought out.
Radiant structures are fortified.
That does mean that they're not going to excel in any particular area, and if you
Radiant's middle
build
tower is under
the
attack.
perfect way as the 3 and the 4 here, you can definitely overcome this, but it has to be a very good build. It has to be a very high
Radiant's
IQ
middle
build.
tower has
And
fallen.
this I definitely would recommend. I definitely would say, in a case like this, in a case where there's not something to specifically focus on, where they're kind of hitting you from all sides, going for mechanism as early as you can is going to save you a lot of hassle. Is going to save you a lot of gray hairs in the fights going forward. On a guy like Pit Lord, is certainly you can certainly afford to stop and pick it up.
Dire's top tower is under attack. Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Slardar just casually ratting up here at bot.
Yep.
It's a bit almost an X factor, as they would say in this match. is how unusual the Backdoor Boys draft is compared to their normal sort of game so far, right? Usually, when you're looking at the Backdoor Boys, you're looking at Vex on 3, shouts to Dusty. Looking at Vex
Oh,
on
boy.
3, goodbye Warcarb, this is the most ideal situation for the guy, yep.
Yep.
Gets eaten by the Shadow Fiend and Winter Wyvern combo. You know, the Shadow Fiend, all the fizz damage also does really well with the Arctic Burn, which does do magic damage, but you will, it also gives you, you know, you're still auto-attacking when you're doing this, right? So it's helping that on both sides. It's more magic damage and more fizz damage. It's all good stuff. More magic damage for the team, I should say, and more fizz damage as in more to go with what they've got.
Yeah.
Not boosted magic or fizz damage there. I should clarify. Boosted fizz damage, I guess. Anyway. So, usually when you're looking at this team, you've got Vex on the 3, and you've got Manoy on the 2. But this time, we've got a stand-in here, who, you know, you've got a stand-in who has been doing a very good job so far. You can actually see top last is on the server by a pretty wide margin.
Yep.
So we're having a bit of a fight up here.
Certainly are.
Chris, a little messed up, though not messed up for it to matter. Just gonna take out the PL and
yep.
immediately leave. Not a bad,
Alright.
not a bad
Very good.
way for that to go. All they lost for that is Ear Shaker. Trading for 4 for 1, certainly not a bad trade. You got the lack of the Manoy. You've got a different pause 3 than you're usually going to see on this lineup, because he usually misses. So, I mean, you know, I'm still convinced it might just be Rada playing on an ult, to be honest with you. So, to that end, it's definitely a different strategy, a different set of bans, a different set of play styles than you're usually going to see out of them. I could definitely see potentially underestimating old Snowstorm here, just because, lack of information. It's going to happen to you sometimes. You don't know what the guy's going to do. You don't really plan around it, right? You just can't factor... You can't factor a guy into your plans like that. Even if you know in advance who it is, it's very difficult to factor in advance what to do about him, what he's going to be doing, what he's going to be playing, how he's going to be playing it.
Right.
To that end, I think the Backdoor Boys have a unique advantage here, at least for the starting match. I think as we go into round 2, likely we're going to see that almost turn into a downside, as once the cat is out of the bag as far as what these guys are going to be doing, what the name of the game is for these guys exactly, then you're going to have the issue of, oh, that's not who we usually play with. You're going to see more of a hole there, but for right now, they still got the element of surprise going for them. Rada found a salve. Congratulations to Rada.
Wow.
Who I believe is casting something literally as we're recording this, funnily enough.
Shout out to him.
Yeah. I haven't told him yet. I don't think we're going to be at the pre-show panel this week.
Said.
Yeah. It's a pretty big ask for like 5 solid hours of content from the boys. You know how it goes. In fairness, I probably would have told him in advance of that had I not failed to realize Magician's Tournament, Magician's Tournament literally starts tomorrow. Big boy LaCroix getting hassled here, just gonna say hell with that, going home.
Yep.
Very difficult guy to actually kill, the old Pit Lord, just because of that fact alone. You got no silence, you got no real recourse to deal with him for a while. G-Rap actually going so far on this farming field. Oh, actually misses a stun, but I don't think it matters. Oh, it sure does! Holy crap, he's got...
The Grim Leash.
Yeah, the Grim Leash, fantastic stuff. A lot of ults trading back and forth. Sapphire determined to get something out of this, at least. Drops ult for the Grimstroke, does get him knocked down. As Big Boy LaCroix sleeps in for the cleanup, but finds nobody really here. Going topside though, might find a little more.
Echo this.
Echo Slam, completely demolishes the Winter Wyvern. Still looking to get the Shadow Fiend here though. Sniper not really willing to throw more than assassinate him, means it's not really on the menu. Fortunately, Unfortunately, I think we've had a bit of an issue with how we've sort of built out on This is Sparta. Because sniper skill build, without your E, you're just not going to be able to fight. It's pretty much as simple as that. Without your E, really not going to be able to fight very much in the early game, right? Until you get that, you know, you're just kind of put shrapnel and assassinate people, that's it, right? On the other hand, though, Gyrocopter is going so far into the funny farming build that not only has he not been like prioritizing his W, he hasn't leveled it at all. He doesn't have a single point in it, which means he's not going to be able to stun anyone, which is going to make him not even really able feasibly to defend himself very well. He's going to be very much at the mercy of his boys there, but his boys are going to be a man down because of the sniper skill build. It's kind of an unfortunate scenario for them. And here we go again,
boy.
and goodbye Gyro. They did actually get him that time. Pretty much everybody just comes in, just completely demolishes them.
Oh,
We've got
yeah,
the
he's dead.
Lavernal, but the Lavernal accomplishes really nothing at all. Jackie Chen takes out the Shadow Fan. Sparta running in, trying to make good on this, and good he makes as a single stun plus change is able to take out both the Earthshaker and the Grimstroke. Earthshaker going down gives Chris all the time and space in the world he needs. He's just going on a little bit of a tirade right now, just running right over Sniper. Big Boy LaCroix comes in, actually pops some X just for him, but not quite enough. Going to chase out the PL here, but unfortunately, without a stun of any kind on Gyro. Oh, he does actually have a single level of homing now, but they're beating up illusions instead of him. They, in fact, drop homing with still on an illusion instead of him. Very wishful thinking, I must say. Very wishful thinking he was going to do something besides just pull out there, but yeah. Being able to, Sardar coming in there, just breaking the space for Chris to just go ham on them. Just go wherever he wants, whenever he wants, do whatever he wants. Just really turned that around pretty well at the last second for the Backdoor Boys there. Who, as you can see from the gold change here, even though they actually ended up technically doing less damage, ended up definitively winning the fight in the end. Especially it was a good choice to go in, go hard when old Big Boy was not home to do anything about it.
Yeah.
Got another Lotus Orb, because we're going to have a Lotus Orb in every single game. What's Lotus Orb going to be for? I don't think there's anything you can dispel from Laverne. I think all of her stuff is protected from it. Her ult definitely is. Yep, that can't be dispelled. Splinter Blast is dispellable, but that's not much to go off of, so you can't do that. You can get rid of, like, Haze, but who cares about that? Or really even the Badge. I mean, he's going to be stunning anybody with this W, it's going to be you anyway, right?
Oh boy.
Oof, the double assassinate. One of them takes out the Slardar. Goodbye. I guess maybe the idea is to try and put put the Lotus Orb on somebody so Slardar can't ult them without ulting himself back, but I don't think he cares about that nearly as much as like the Radiant does. I don't think that's going to be actually enough of a detriment to stop him from doing that, nor enough of a detriment to stop PL from killing himself, so I guess what I'm saying is, not big on the Lotus Orb this game. I think even the one thing to purge that would be a pretty neat thing to purge is something that's going to be happening to you, not other people, and that really doesn't matter, because you aren't able to purge yourself of a stun with a Lotus Orb. I mean, maybe if you like, give it to your courier and go back in time to the point when couriers could use items. That was another great, why was it like this patch?
Winter's Curse is reflected by Lotus Orb, but other than that, yeah.
Winter's Curse is reflected? I thought it
Yes.
wasn't. Okay.
It is.
Alright, so that is an interesting thing. One potentially interesting thing.
So essentially, you're basically removing the option to curse, say, the Gyro is there.
Or you're making Wyvern position around it, which I think is probably going to be, in practice, the more pertinent thing to say. Still can easily curse the person who's got the Lotus Orb on it. She just needs to be out of the way when it happens. Though the thing is, like I said before, when Wyvern has used Winter's Curse, who cares about what comes next, right? I mean, it's not like a core Wyvern. So again,
Right.
just for that reason, unless Wyvern like super screws herself over and like gets PL or something in the reflected Winter's Curse, I gotta say, in practice, especially with the Aether ones coming up, in practice, I don't know how useful it's gonna be, and especially just on one person. Especially when you really have two like priority targets of like nearly equal priority for most of this game, I think.
Right,
No.
but Sniper's not gonna be in the fight usually.
Right.
It's gonna be kind of on the outskirts, not around anyone else. So he's a pretty bad curse target usually. Unless you catch him, you know, with his pants down, basically.
Right. So with Sniper, that is something you can count on a little more than you usually could with some of the roster. Also got some other decent targets and guys like old Big Boy. Not a bad idea to
Where
drop
do
it
they
on
go
him.
here?
We're just going to drop everything we can on the Wyvern. And
Oh,
Sniper assassinates right through the popsicle. On one hand, dropping an ult like that on Pod 3 is exactly what he wants you to do. On the other hand, it's still a big passive you just gotta deal with.
Okay, they're getting some good guts here.
Yep. The Slaughter Art going down. Snapfire, really not much time left on this planet Earth. Goodbye.
Really just routed them out of their own jungle there.
Yep. Getting run right over there. One of the big issues with that last fight, I think, is that for a part of it, you had the Echo Slam still available, and I don't think Phantom Lancer really wanted to come in and engage with that thing up. You're also missing out on the Shadow Fiend as well.
Yep.
Dire's
PV
bottom tower is under
was
attack.
present for a bit of that, but had to TP. I believe he's the one that TP'd out.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack. Radiant's top tower is under attack. Dire's bottom tower has fallen.
Been very wishful thinking on what exactly PL is going to be doing here. Lotus Orb's done. You guys can also, I think, purge off the fear from the end of the
Yes.
Shadow Fiend ult, but like, that's going to be hitting you like every time it happens anyway. Or at least it should be. Anyway, if it's happening at all, right? Another kill here as Slardar ends up going down. Neil comes in, actually gets tied up, and his buddy Rada goes down in no time
good
flat.
Cookie.
Yep. Cookie just barely bailing out the PL there. That was alright. They did lose they did lose.
An uncomfortable amount for
Yeah.
not all that much, yeah.
In terms of ults and everything. Not so much in bodies, but definitely so much in ults.
Moves. I like your style.
Underlord going right for the old Ag Shard here.
Dota 2 is a fun and balanced game.
Yep. Always good.
Sniper running right for that BKB. Has finally finished up not only his E, but he's also finished some right-click focused traits. So he is going to be able to be doing the damage while Gyrocopter's still farming up.
Dire's middle tower has fallen.
Big Boy LaCroix is protected from any thought of Wyvern solo ulting him for no reason.
Yeah.
And then Chris gets tipped. Why we tip Chris again?
Why not?
You just go ham on an illusion or something? Like, what happened there?
As they burn.
You know what the expression go ham actually means, Randy?
Yeah, I know what it means.
Oh, what's it mean?
I can't say that on television, sorry.
It means go humans against monsters in reference to
Oh.
an old group of people operating just outside Lumbridge. Slardar does not want this happening again. Just gets right out of here. The last few minutes have, I think, put a bit of a damper in the old confidence for the Slardar here. Does double back around, is looking to do something here, but he really shouldn't because it'd be 2v4.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the rest of his team pretty much just kind of looking for Gyro in the jungle down here, cleaning it up with the lack of his presence. Gyro, in fact, doing their jungle at the moment. And now the not base race, a T2 race.
Yeah.
Vern coming in.
T2 trade.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Radiant actually does not have the glyph, so Dire's going to be the first to take the tower out. In fact, this might not actually be a proper trade. Oh, good Grimstroke ult here. Leaves them both together. I think Slardar just ulted himself in that. And down he goes as a result. Rada ends up getting completely creamed there by the Gyrocopter's damage. The Shadow Fiend blows Sniper up on the back line. Sniper actually, to his credit, bravely just stands his ground and just tries to tough him out, which is really kind of what you do with the Shadow Fiend, but ultimately does not get the job done. We have the Snapfire ult to try and clean up there, but does get a little done. And here's finally that Wyvern ult. Grimstroke just gets completely eliminated. Big Boy LaCroix says, I've had enough of this, starts the Pit Lord portal right out home.
Yep.
And home they go. On one hand, they did get the Shadow Fiend for that. They got a lot of kills on the Gyrocopter, which is really who they needed them to be on, especially at this point. On the other hand, they did lose a lot of guys in getting that done, including Sniper, who is already starting to fall off just a little bit over time here.
Yeah.
If the Shadow Fiend is going to bully him like this, right? If the Shadow Fiend is just going to drop on him every fight, you can really kind of write Sniper off as having the ability to do much of anything going forward. They're just going to have to be very paranoid about what fights they do and don't tank. They're going to have to be very paranoid about where Shadow Fiend is at all times, because they can't afford to let that happen, certainly. More than in that fight. More
For
fun
sure,
in the jungle
that
here.
card has been shown, now you need to, play against it.
Right. More fun happening in the jungle here. Paladin Sword dropping for the Dire. Paladin Sword always a nice thing to have. One of the better jungle items, especially for its tier. Does definitely have a tangible impact on the game. Can definitely save you life. Got some smoke out here. Looking in the Radiant's jungle, but once again, nobody really home for that. They are going to find Sniper here. Oh, Slardar barely misses out on the stun there. Sniper just BKBs, walks right out.
Oh,
and
boy.
Shadow Fiend super pays for it. Eats the Gyro ult, and just Rada goes down trying to save him there. Rada going down a lot in these fights. Winter Wyvern not having a great time here so far.
A soldier's fortune.
Oh, notably, PL has not gone down at all since the very beginning of the game, so that is one thing they do have going for them right now. I'm gonna just do Roche here.
Rocher. Yeah. Make the
Don't think there's
6v5.
any real recourse to this right now. They're just going to get him.
Oh, yes, that's short. That's always good.
Right down, and Sniper gets it. At the ES Shard. ES Shard is always good, but it's certainly going to be good about dealing with the PL illusions, I think.
Yep.
Where's my pension?
Slowly pushing up here. Looks like they're trying to get a split going between the T2's mid and top. Would not be unexpected, though. Gyrocopter says, Equilibrium's good enough. I better be here.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Yep, the T2 here just goes straight down. No repentance, no remorse.
Has fallen.
Rada definitely looking for just a casual ult there, though. Does not find anybody in time, just has to turn back
Radiant's
around.
bottom tower is under attack.
It's a blink.
Dire's top tower is under
Blink
attack.
is going to further hamper the old Lotus Orb here, as it's going to give Wyvern the ability to just blink herself out of a compromising position,
Dire's
just
top
drop it on
tower
you.
is under attack.
And again, she'll be in jail the whole time it's happening, but yeah, she doesn't really care if as long as she gets her ult out to begin with, and especially so long as nobody gets caught in it. In the reverse, we got actually a mutual smoke going on here. They're gonna be running right in, going as fast as possible. Drops ult, but everybody's BKB. He just can't stand up to the fizz damage, and he just eats it as a result. Got a pretty big Echo Slam, but PL at this point is so tanky, it really doesn't do anything to the guy. Just eats the sniper. Gyrocopter going down, Earthshaker going down, Sniper assuredly going down. Tries to BKB TP, but doesn't even get close. Uh-oh.
And they win the 6v5.
Yep. They win the 6v5 handily. They only lose Slardar for that. And even Slardar only barely goes down. That's got to be a bit of a morale bust. You know, Chris getting that heart on the PL really put a damper on their ability to fight them very quickly. Even with the pretty solid amount of farm Gyrocopter has been getting, he really just doesn't have the damage anymore, especially in light of what they can do to him in retaliation. Grimstroke just going to get eaten under the T3s here. Down he goes.
Oh boy, they have such a deadly 1-2 punch with the PL and the SF.
Right.
I don't know that there's anything that can be done about it.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Well, you are the doctor of Dota.
Radiant's
If
middle
you were
tower
having to
is
draft a
falling.
game plan, what would you do? What's
Maybe
the
big team fights. But even big team fights are very hard to come by because of all the BKBs, you know, all the very quick BKBs.
right?
And you know, those BKBs are going to start going down in duration.
Right.
So maybe wait out the BKBs and hope you don't die in that time and then use everything.
Right. Yeah, they're definitely going to, and this is the unfortunate thing with the Pit Lord build so far. They're definitely going to need, and he's going Shivas, that is good. They're going to need to tank through the BKBs for sure. There's really no other option, because they're not going to outdamage them. You're just simply not going to do that. That's just not on the table.
I think if they initiate with Echo, they can keep the important targets stunned for long enough. Although, looks like
Snipers
they're
is
being
going to be
initiated on at the moment.
very casually eaten, even again through his own BKB. So definitely a big distinction between these two teams. You know, when you have somebody on SPARTA using the BKB in this match, they still end up going down. When you have somebody on Backdoor using the BKB, they are basically invincible.
Radiant's top tower.
Very casual Winner's Curse on the Earthshaker there, just to try and hurt the pursuit on the Shadow Fiend here. Doing a lot to try and save him. Very casual Echo Slam ends up getting the Winter Reverm, but at the cost of his own life. PL just shreds him in an instant. Even without the Slardar around, just the little Shredder plus the Shadow Fiend combination there, man. Yeah, you throw in the bonus from the both crits and damage from the active of the Silver Edge on top of that. Silver Edge, not an unexpected purchase for sure, but definitely is going to be doing a lot of good for them here. You know, Silver Edge great against Sniper, Silver Edge great against the Pit Lord, even good against the Earthshaker if you got him with it. The only person of super value at this point that it doesn't do much against is the old Gyrocopter. Old Grimstroke has unfortunately by this point been basically written out of the game. He has been doing a good job keeping his levels at least somewhat competitive. But unfortunately, even with all that, with all the BKBs, he just has nothing on offer. They have really no ability right now to stop the BKBs either. They can neither stop the BKBs, nor can they really tank through them at this juncture. It's a very difficult place to be. And they're not splitting in the right way to get picks either. They're definitely making this as hard as possible for the for this is Sparta to mount their offensive.
And SF has a lot of room to still grow.
Right. Yeah.
PL has a little less so, but he's still going to be a little scarier in 5 to 10 minutes than he is now.
By the way, Satanic up on the Shadow Fiend. Shadow Fiend also
Yep.
with the Mindbreaker as well. Mindbreaker going to be a high impact item against that lineup. You know, Mindbreaker.
Look for someone here.
Mindbreaker, the Gyro without BKB up, or Mindbreaker, the Earthshaker. They no longer have anything to do in the fight. Looks like they're gonna find combination B with this. Nope, they actually backing out a little early. Just do not.
I think they knew they were there because of the PL illusions. I mean, it didn't
That's
reveal them, but they, you know, you can still see.
Right. Shadow Fiend finds a Penta Edge Sword, which is about as nice to see popping up in the enemy roster as getting a stocking full of hydrochloric acid in your eyes
Well,
for Christmas.
or an enchanted quiver.
Or an enchanted quiver. Yeah.
Must make one joke about quiver every
Every
cast.
single game.
Yeah,
Well, hey, if you wanted that purge, now you got it for sure.
that's
Got
true.
a super cool purge, which has kind of taken the already, you know, very niche benefit Lotus Orb and just kind of put another screw in that one, unfortunately for him. Has not to this point, I don't think, really been able to use the reflect capability of it very well, because basically every fight he's just had to use it on himself. He hasn't
Yep.
been able to save with it, and most of the time it just kind of gets ignored. Everyone just does whatever they want anyway. Which is really the kind of the problem with Lotus Orb as far as like a paper versus reality sort of situation. You know, if you're buying it for the reflect, the other team has to be scared of what actually happens when it gets reflected on them, or else they just don't care. Any team doesn't care if they get Winter's Curse reflected on them. What are they going to do? They're just going to clock out Wyvern, who's just dying every fight anyway. That's not,
5-minute smoke traipsing into the jungle here.
not her job to live. Traipsing into the jungle looks like they might traipse onto the Pit Lord. Nope, they're going to traipse onto a courier almost. They are going to traipse onto the Pit Lord.
Yep.
Immediately going to think about
Yeah,
it.
just load here. Yep. And oh god,
Through the ult and the Lotus Orb, he still goes down.
appeals deadly.
That's another issue of the old Lotus Orb in this game. I hate to keep harping on it. Oh, goodbye. Goodbye, Grimstroke. Just died in like a second off screen. The higher priority has been fizz damage for sure. As far, you know, they got a lot of magic damage too, but the higher priority has certainly been the fizz damage so far. Buying up the Lotus Orb as fast as possible meant that, especially in combination with the only other item being the hood, means that Pit Lord hasn't been able to really stand up to the fizz damage. He's got his passive. Passive's good, but it's not enough when they got so much armor break and all that crap. Poor big boy, dude. Big boy, I know you, well, at least I think you get some vague word of this, because I know there was some mention by your Pause 1 of a cast we did a while back, but specific quote from it. You mentioned the in spite of thing, right?
Yeah.
Big boy, I only do it to you because I love you, man. not in a weird way, all right. I don't want to see a very strange fan mail letter pop up in my inbox. But I only do it. It's the same reason I'm hard on X3 and Bolodek and Ramanolo and all the other Pot 3 homeboys. PL man.
Rocket Dynamite.
Oh, I'm hard on him for a very different reason.
Oh,
PL
okay.
man is just starting to look more and more unkillable as time goes on. With the S and Y, with the heart, and with the
The
hood.
Scotty too.
Yep, got the Scotty as well. He is so tough to take down. He's got so much HP. He's got not a great amount of armor, but he still has his ability to dodge stuff, which has, to this point has not really been a mess with it in any significant way. You know, you've basically got 2 stuns on this lineup in the form of the Earthshaker Q, kind of his other tricks, but those are just tiny little baby stuns. You got the silence as well, but it's not really hitting PL in these fights. Even if it does, he just, you know, he just pops that BKB. Got immortality. Got the old shard up on the Shadow Fiend, which that's quite a heavy shard to suddenly be looking at.
Yeah.
And even heavier shot if you're Sean Connery. But yeah. I only pick on you because I love you. In a sort of paternal way, you know, like a father figure. I'm a father to my men, and my men are the posterities of the league.
Yeah.
Winner's Curse
Okay.
on here just completely eliminates Grimstroke from the fight. Two schools of thought on the old Winner's Curse. That's certainly one of them. That's certainly shown the benefits of it there. Just completely wiping the support out of the fight before they can do anything. Completely forcing a buyback there. At a time when you really don't want to be doing those, just throwing those away so lightly. This really is kind of the sort of end of the road fight for this is Sparta. If they lose this, I don't think there's a realistic path for them.
Yep.
And it's kind of looking a little grim. I think this is a kind of fight where everything kind of has to go a bit perfectly. Like you don't Rada PL illusion, for example. These PL illusions, man, have been getting them so much headache through the game, man. They've been hitting a lot of PL illusions with skills. And a lot of that is just because of, you know, when you go full tanky on the PL, right? It's one of the big benefits you get from doing so is it makes it really hard to discern exactly what you're looking at. You know, if it's a real deal, if it's fake.
Yep.
Got a butterfly coming in on the Shadow Fiend. Gonna make this just a little harder for them. Just another sort of bit of physical damage fun that that Sparta really to this point has nothing to do about. Oh, we have Winner's Curse coming in.
Oh boy.
Right on top of the gyrocopter
He's
here.
evading everything.
Yep. They did put the Lotusaur on, but it wasn't really enough to protect him from anything, and down he goes.
Oh, God.
Earthshaker and Grimstroke immediately following. Earthshaker and Gyrocopter immediately buying back, for that matter. First life of PL is down. They have a Lost Slardar on the way here. Shadow Fiend actually not joining the fight. He's actually staying back to take out the mid-racks. Rada gets knocked out again. Sparta did put on a good showing there. As good of a showing as they could have. They did put on a good fight as far as trying to defend their racks there, but unfortunately, I think having put so many resources into keeping the lanes back and keeping the keeping the PL illusions at bay, the positioning factor in there meant that even the best possible fight they could take still ends up in a Rax gun. With a Rax gun, I think you can almost kind of say, you know, that's the it's really sort of the almost end of the line as far as their path to victories go. There is still a hope if Sparta gives them a very long time, because
Yep.
and even then he's still going to have the very narrow specific counter of with all the armor break they have, he's still just going to go down in no time flat. PL buying up an Abyssal Blade, looks like. Not sure exact. Yep. Puts it right in there. Puts it in over his hood. Just gets rid of that. Traded some of his magic resistance for a little bit of fizz resistance there. An HP region, which is always fun. I like how Shadow Fiend went from Butterfly to the item that counters Butterfly, and he got that whole MKB in like one team fight too. He is getting really rich really fast. Though, at the very least, if nothing else, he is basically done. He's got the Moon Shirt and he's got the Ag's Blessing, and that's all he's got.
Yep. And maybe upgrade to Troubles. That's about it.
Maybe. PL also looking pretty much done here. I mean, he could replace the diff with something, I guess, if he really wanted to. So there is that. If they can hold on a long time here, they're going to be fine, but here comes the Winner's Curse to stop the Pit Lord ult. And everybody involved is dead. Goodbye Grimstroke, goodbye Pit Lord, goodbye Earthshaker as well. Just very casually going down. Grim and Earthshaker just died back. Gyrocopter down. He's dead back too. 120 seconds till he's back around. Pit Lord, who is bought back here, is just right back down. Right back into the grave. Jackie
And
Chen
that's it.
calls GG, and that's the ball game here.
Can we get a rampage? We sure are.
Yep, one casual rampage for old Mr. Chris.
Dire victory.
And that's it. Alright, so there's some good, there's some bad. There's some very good signs from Sparta, there's some very bad signs from Sparta. Unfortunately, something that they're usually really good about, actually, at least as far as, no, I think they're pretty good about it as a team, actually. Ended up kind of being the downfall of them here. I think itemization was really the name of the game. Kind of drug them down to the pits of hell. The Lotus Orb, like I said, you know, it's not that expensive, right? 3.8k. It's not that much money to put in. Not that much money to drop in on somebody, and you do get some good stats for yourself on the item. But here it just wasn't what you were looking for. They were not really. They didn't even really have a team in theory that was going to be able to capitalize much on the Winter Wyvern ult, because you did have the Shadow Fiend, and you know, getting 5-man Shadow Fiend ulted would be really bad. Don't get me wrong, but even if Winter Wyvern did care about Winter's Curse, Shadow Fiend was mostly just using his ult to mess up Sniper for the most part, right? So, to that end, Lotus Orb in particular came in absolutely no handy. Putting that into an early Shiva's, or a Crimson, I don't think the Crimson would have done you that much good here, unfortunately, just because, as I mentioned earlier, with all that armor break, very easy for that damage to ramp up to the point where, you know, scraping off 70 of it doesn't matter quite so much anymore, right? The mech was good. I think the plan here was, rather than, you know, arcs into Hood, into Lotus, into, or arcs into mech, into Hood, Lotus, and all that. Maybe the play was more to go for straight into Graves or straight into Shivas, rather than leaving both of those off until later on. Either one of those things early on, depending on what you're worried about, most, could do you a lot of good. And especially given how they were kind of prioritizing targets, I think, as well. You know, the Lotus Orb comes in case they're going to be going all down on Gyro, basically, but that's not really how fights were going, for the most part. So, yeah, to that end, basically the itemization, I don't think it worked well for Underlord in particular. That is not to say we didn't have some other issues as well with the itemization on the lineup. The Gyrocopter, I think, was doing well, but he has a little bit too much, like, sort of a little bit too much stop and go with his item build. He kind of built up, like, incomplete versions of items in sequence rather than going, you know, full, right? I think hurt them a little bit, kind of slowed down his farm. The Earthshaker, unfortunately, really just wasn't able to do too much. He actually had a Shadow Email at the end, so he's going to go AFK. Earthshaker wasn't able to do too much here. And unfortunately, as much as I hate to say it, I think a lot of that kind of comes back on how they itemized. How Big Boy in particular kind of itemized this. You know, Earthshaker and Grim couldn't even get within a mile of the team fight without just melting. It was a good draft. When I'm saying all this, right? Don't take this because you know, it's very easy. I think maybe if you were out of the context of things, look at this and just say, "Oh, I'm just really drilling down on this dude because I'm just a big, stupid, stinky meanie pants or whatever."
Yeah.
The real deal of this situation is not that, oh, Underlord's a big stupid idiot, Big Boy's a dumbo, don't know nothing. That's not it. No, it's just that he had a very, very difficult job. And like I said, I said at the beginning of the game, he needed to have the perfect build to come out here. Didn't have the perfect build. Not many people are going to have the perfect build. It's a very different thing sitting on this chair and talking about what you should have done the meaning of the actual game itself. You know, anybody who's played Dota knows that sometimes you're just not going to make the perfect decisions under pressure, so I get that. So don't take this as the let's beat up on Big Boy Club. And certainly I would not say his fault on the loss. The execution, I would say, I think the biggest gap between the realistic and perfect execution did kind of fall on him, right? But as far as the brunt of what happened here, I will say I do think this was in a very large part just kind of Backdoor Boys had a very good draft, and it needed an absolute perfect play from This Is Sparta to have a realistic chance, and that just didn't come to pass. They did a very good job as well of keeping down heroes who wouldn't normally be very large problems to them. Like, Earthshaker was basically just completely, like I said, just completely written off this game. Grimstroke, completely written off this game. The support club there was actually very important here, because support club was going to be very, very large part of how things would go. On the other hand, if we want to talk about good itemization, I think Slardar did a pretty good job here of saying, you know, what we need is not more tank. My higher tier guys are all already getting well enough tanky, right? The one guy who's not tanky is Shadow Fiend, and he's never going to be tanky. You cannot... There's no amount of lipstick you can put on that pig to make it beautiful, right? So, instead of that, I'm going to be going, instead of the auras, I'm going for AC. Which is an aura, I guess. AC here, I think, paid very strong dividends. Came in at a point when Sniper and Gyrocopter were starting to become threatening, and I think that ended up helping turn it around quite a bit on them. I do think he built pretty well. Snapfire going right into the Solar Crest. Not unexpected, certainly by any stretch, nor is the AC on Slardar, don't get me wrong. Not unexpected by any stretch, but the way they got it up, in the sort of priority that they did, I think it turned out very well. What do you think, Randy? Any thoughts here?
Nothing in particular. It was a good showing, for
right.
sure.
Yeah, it was a very good showing. Despite how much it sounded like I was burying Sparta in this post game, I think ultimately it was a very good first showing for them here against a team that is like. Is it any shame to Sparta to say they're punching above their weight here? I mean, I think everybody's punching above their weight when they're facing the Backdoor Boys. That's what you're doing when you're facing the top guy in the league, right? It's no shame on them to say, hey, you took an L to the top guys in the league. But even in a situation where you actually did have a lot playing against you, there were issues, like I said. But ultimately, I think it was a good showing. Let's see how things go next time.